and be so proud, be so grateful for what you're creating. If you're constantly hustling, next, what is my next goal? What am I doing next? Are you really enjoying the moment? Are you really enjoying what you're currently creating, or are you still focused on the future?
Today's guest is a speaker, business mentor, mindset coach, and meta medicine trainer. She's the founder of the Unconventional Way, which is her method to creating the life you truly want to live without the hustle. She's helped thousands of high-achieving women turn their businesses and their life into a masterpiece. She's a rebel entrepreneur who leads the way to show you how to create an extraordinary life in your own terms. So please help me welcome the woman who went from cleaning toilets in France to now a six-figure CEO living her extraordinary life. My friend, Miss Chloe Jin. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much, Morgan. And that makes me laugh, this intro, talking about cleaning toilets.
Well, everyone has a story, you know, everybody started somewhere, and that is the whole thing. Is like when people tune in and listen to this show, I believe everyone is on their own journey doing something somewhere. And especially here in Australia, but in this world, and I think our generation as well, it's easy to fall into comparison and be like, well, that person's done all these things and how can I ever get there? It's like, well, you know, she also cleaned toilets sometimes, you know, and I've spent many nights being arrested and sleeping in the watch house as well. Right. And like just crazy shit. And we've all got a past and we've all done things. And if people like us can sit here and do epic shit in our life, then anyone can too, right?
Yeah, I think it's so important also to bring it back to where it all started in our own life. Like we've all reached like amazing goal, and especially with the community that we've built here on the Gold Coast, like we're around people who've built empires, and we all started at some point. And it's the question: can I be proud of my whole journey?
Yeah.
Not just the success, the materialistic success that we can see, but can I be proud of my everyday success?
Yes. Exactly. He's good. I look back and it's just funny. Everything's funny. So I have a couple of rapid fire questions to ask you so everybody can get to know you fast.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
In the south of France.
In the south of France?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Lovely. And where do you live now?
On the Gold Coast, Miami.
Great. Yeah. What's your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Not tacos?
No, I really love lasagna.
I wanted to convince more people to like tacos.
That's okay.
Lasagna is good there as well.
I really like tacos too.
What is your X factor?
I believe it's like my confidence, leadership, and my way of being able to adapt in any situation that I have in my life.
Great.
Yeah.
Have you always had that, or have you built that?
I've built it. Yeah.
Great. Cool.
But I think it's always something that has been inside of me, like a little fire. And then it's just, can I amplify the fire?
Cool. I definitely want to come back and talk about that. If you were to have one superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation, of course. Imagine like right now, I could be in Paris, and then I could be for dinner in Italy, and I could be in Mexico for going to the beach.
Yeah, that actually would be, because I really don't like flying. First class is nice.
Yeah.
But like not for 18 hours as well. Yeah. Who's someone who's inspired you in your life to get to where you are now, and why?
It all started with a woman in France called Chloe as well, Chloe Bloom. And she was a self-made entrepreneur into self-development and the feminine way of doing her self-development. And I was mind blown by this woman, and I was like, wow, I don't know what she's doing, but I want to do something similar, which all started my journey into becoming who I am now. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's dive into that, okay? Because how old are you now?
27.
27. And it's only quite recently you've really tapped into just freaking crushing shit, right? So walk us through a little bit about like, how does this little girl in the south of France go from cleaning toilets at 16 now doing everything you're doing now? Like walk us through quickly of that journey and discovering your own confidence and stuff along the way.
Yeah, beautiful. So to give you a little bit of background, like I came from a family which was quite wealthy, but I would say like middle class. So we didn't have any kind of financial problem, but we were not like super, super rich. And so my dad is an engineer working for like a company. And so my whole life I was interested into the mind, the astrology, all the weird stuff, but I didn't know what else could I do. And so I started my journey by becoming a chemical engineer, because my dad was an engineer, my brother was an engineer, my little brother is an engineer, and I just basically followed, like the normal path of becoming myself a chemical engineer. And so studied 5 years, 5 years to become this chemical engineer that I thought I wanted to be, to realize that, oh, I actually don't want to do that. And so I worked for 3 years for one of the largest pharmaceutical industry. And then after 3 years of doing this, I was like, I'm kind of done. I want to do something else. Breakup happened with my partner at that time. And so I decided to go away, kind of maybe run away at that point, where I wanted to experience something different. And so I came to Australia with my backpack, packing my bag, and just flying by myself in the opposite of the world from where I was from, and just being like, we'll see what happens. And my plan was to come to Australia for a month, just like doing the backpacker tour for a month. And I fell in love with Australia and with a man as well at the same time, which led me to exploring more of Australia and really finding my ground, my home in here. And so I remember when I was in Australia in my tour, I went to Melbourne, and in my mind, so I was a backpacker at that time, and in my mind, when I was in Melbourne, I wanted to work as a chemical engineer in Melbourne. Because, like I've studied 5 years, fucking years. So I was like, now I want to be paid not for cleaning toilets, but for what I actually can do.
Yeah.
So I went on this journey of like, okay, I'm going to find a job and I'm going to work for one of the Australian company and be sponsored. And funnily enough, so I applied for like hundreds of jobs. Hundreds. Every day I was applying for jobs. And after a month, or even after 2 months, I got 0 answers.
What is a chemical engineer?
It's basically, so I was working for one of the largest pharmaceutical companies, so we were producing drugs.
Great.
And so as a chemical engineer, I was more doing like project management. So reducing the waste in the industry. So cutting the costs basically to make more profit. So that's what I was doing as a chemical engineer. I was not like in the technical parts.
You weren't cooking drugs?
No, almost, but almost. Yeah, I learned that, but no.
Oh, so you know how to. So you have many skills.
No bargain.
Right.
And I couldn't find anything, and I stopped for a moment, and I was like, maybe it's just the universe telling me something. If I cannot find a fucking job here, is the universe just telling me something? And so I stopped. And I did an exercise called, it's a Japanese exercise to find your life purpose. So to find your mission. It's called an Ikigai. If you don't know what it is, go on Google. Like there's heaps of books and charts to understand what it is.
There's actually a book about it that barely talks about it, actually. It talks about everything else except Ikigai.
Ikigai. And so it's an exercise where you find your life purpose, your mission. Why are you here on earth? And what are you meant to do? And so I did this exercise, and I remember writing all the things about what I love, what I'm good at, what the world needs, and how I can make money. And nothing on the paper was about chemical engineering. Oh. Nothing. And I was like, this is horrible. I studied 5 years, and there is nothing that is related to my mission. And everything was around self-development, women empowerment, healing the body from the mind, mindset. And I was like, okay, what can I do with that? And at that point, I didn't even know that mindset coaching, business coaching were the thing at all. And so that's where I discovered Chloe Bloom, which was like, oh, I don't know what she does, but I want to do the same. And then discovered Tony Robbins. And I was like, he's great. I want to do what he does. And I remember being like, oh, he studied NLP. And I was like, I don't fucking know what is NLP, but I'm going to do that. And so then I went on my journey, did my NLP certification, and started my own coaching business. And in less than 12 months, I've built like a massive impact already. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. This is so interesting because like you're going down the path of what you thought you had to do because you have already invested this money and time and stuff into your degree. And how do you sort of how did you determine if, like, because there's that fine line, right? You can look at it from either way. You could be like, well, I've already invested this, keep going until, or how did you discover that this wasn't the path for you? Because there's so many people out there as well that have been in university or even in university or college now, because even their parents have told them they got to be in there, or they thought they need to be there. Because especially in the States, it's really big. Like, if you don't go to college, like a high chance you'll be in jail or homeless, right? It's really kind of like push a lot over there than what it is here. And I've spoken to so many young people where they're like, I'm not even sure if this is what I want to do, but I really want to do something else. So how do you kind of determine what is like, what direction you need to go? How did you do it?
Yeah, okay. So how I did it was, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that fails, then I do something else. And if that fails, then I do something else. And I'm not really failing anyway because I'm going to learn something. And so at the beginning, what I didn't mention is when I knew what I wanted to do and around self-development, and we'll see what happened, I started multiple companies in my head and I started designing the business plan. So I wanted to build a company, a dry shampoo company, because I was more like into natural health and blah, blah, blah. So I started to buy all the product to build the dry shampoo company here in Australia, imported products, started designing the website, like doing all the things.
Yeah.
1 month later, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And so I stopped. And then I went into something else until I found what was my true calling. And I love the metaphor that I use with my clients. It's like, imagine that you're going to a birthday party. For girls, what we do is we will go and look for a dress, right? We're going to do and look for the perfect dress that we want to wear for the birthday party. And so we go to the shopping center and we go to the first shop. And you try on the dress and you're like, I don't really like the color. Nah, put it back. And then you try on a second dress and you're like, oh, that's a bit better, but no, it's not the right shape. Put it back. And then you go to a second store. And the second store, you try a few things on more, and then you find the dress that suits you. But you don't stand there being like, oh, I have only one go and I need to find the perfect dress without going in a shop and trying things out. You try them on until you find the perfect dress. That's how I see the entrepreneurial life.
Yeah. I guess that's super important, right? And you knew what your end goal was as well.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
You knew what you wanted, where you want to go. How about for people that are on this path and it's like shiny object syndrome, where they're like, well, I'm trying this thing, I do it for a month and I don't like it. And I try this thing for a month and I don't like it. Is there a way to break that pattern or to identify if you're in that pattern or if you're just on this journey of figuring out what your true thing is?
Yeah, right. So I will go with, what's your why? What is your reason of doing what you're doing? Because if the fire, I remember I was talking about the fire within. If the fire is not really here and activated, then of course, after a month, you're going to be like, it's not working out. Next. But if you have a true reason why you're doing what you're doing, and you find the why of what you do, then you're going to have more discipline and persistence to get the result that you want. So identify what is your why. And when you find this, it's, of course, I'm waking up in the morning. Of course, I'm doing this, even though perhaps I don't have the instant results, but I keep going because my why is the fire.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about, have you gotten to where you are because of just pure hustle and grit, or have you manifested your way there and has it come with ease and flow?
Right. So I think if I look at my life and my success through the lens of energetics, we have the masculine energy, which is the doing, the hustling, the goal focus, the I'm going there, it's the right direction.
Goal what?
Focused?
I thought you said the golf fuckers. I'm like, that's interesting. The golf fuckers. Okay. The golf focus. Okay, yeah. Back. I know what you guys heard, but I heard that. Okay.
That's the masculine energy, right?
Okay. Yes.
And then we have the feminine energy, which is the playfulness, the creativity, the fun, the attraction. And I like to play in both realms in order for me to manifest and create the success that I want in my life. And when I talk about success, I talk about creating a life which, yes, it looks good on my bank account. Yes, it looks good. My house is beautiful. Yes, the people who are surrounding me are fucking awesome. But a life that also feels good. When I wake up in the morning, and that's always what I tell my clients, I want you to wake up in the morning and be so proud, be so grateful for what you're creating. If you're constantly hustling, next, what is my next goal? What am I doing next? Are you really enjoying the moment? Are you really enjoying what you're currently creating, or are you still focused on the future, the potential worst outcome that could happen? So I like to bring that back to the duality of both energy. When I need to, yes, I'm doing the work. Yes, I'm consistent. Yes, I'm focused on my goal. And at the same time, can I chill the fuck out? Can I let go of the attachment of the results? And can I attract even more what I want to create with my creativity, the fun that I have in my business and in my life?
How do you do that though? Like when you're super, focused on this goal and it's like, this is what I'm doing, and you're excited, you're driven towards it. How do you let go in this kind of like a not care attitude, or is it more like a trusting attitude?
Yeah, I like to call this faith. So you have so much faith that of course it's going to happen. Of course the universe is going to deliver what you want. The universe always does.
Mm-hmm.
So can you let go? And I like to use this metaphor. When you go to the restaurant, you order a pizza and it's like your favorite pizza or your favorite tacos.
Yes,
Okay?
tacos. Okay, okay. Now I'm with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You order that. Do you go in the kitchen to check that they're making your tacos, or do you trust that it's going to come to you?
I trust it's going to come.
Right. It's the same for your dreams and goals. But you did something. When you do order your tacos, you did something. So you took an action of ordering.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were waiting for your tacos to arrive at your table, did you wait at your table feeling like, oh my God, my tacos is not there yet. Oh my God, it's not there yet. What can I do? Or did you just enjoy and had fun with your friends around the table and be like, oh, we have so much fun. And then the tacos arrive and it's like, great.
Okay, cool. So yes, most of the time. Sometimes, but let's say, for example, if it's like I'm sitting there for an hour and I'm like, where the fuck are my tacos? And then I might ask, right? And using this as a metaphor, right? So if it's like, so if we've manifested something, I'm like, I thought I'd be here by now. What do we do then? Is it a matter of like, hey, just check in. Did I set the order properly? Or is it be like, maybe actually it's not meant to have tacos tonight? What is it?
So I will go for it first. What Einstein said was like the insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not happening, perhaps look at, did the action I took actually could have potentially misled me somewhere? Could I take a different action that will then be able to attract what I want faster? And that's where exactly what you said, you will go and ask.
Mm.
Did anything happen with my order?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you will took an action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there a way to speed it up? What have you been? What have you noticed? Because you're not new to manifesting.
No.
Right. You've been doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've accelerated results massively in the last 6 months or longer, right? What was the big switch for you from where you were 18 months ago to where you are now? Was it just purely learning how to manifest better, or did you get a new vehicle? Like what is it, right? Because I talk about the 4 things, right? Like, and every time I'm like, to create a new dream life, to create a new level, go to a new level, you always bring it back to the 4 pillars. You got to be in the right environment, you need the right vehicle, the right timing, and the right you. So I always bring it back to that. What is it for you? Did you change the way you were manifesting? Did you get a new way of creating income? Did you change who you were? What was it?
I love this question. And yeah, I think it's so I have three different pillars which are probably similar in some way to your system. So I call this the be, do, have method.
Mm-hmm.
And before I explain this, I want to bring it back to what most people do before understanding the concept of manifestation and the power of attraction. A lot of people do. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this action. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do more of that. And then I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to do all of this. Okay, so it's a lot of doing, which is the masculine energy, which I was talking about, which is important. But so they do first, and then they wait to receive the result that they want in order for them to be. Okay, so I'm going to do all the thing. I'm going to have the money, the impact, the business that I want to create, and then I'm going to be happy. Right? This system works for a certain period of time where you hustle. It's a lot of hustle. So it's a lot of masculine energy of doing. It's the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
What I like to look at it, and what I've been doing in my life and in my business, and has been creating a massive success, is reversing this order by be, do, have. I become the woman, which then do the action, and then I receive. So it's the identity work. Mm-hmm. Can you be confident now instead of waiting for external approval to be confident in yourself? Can you trust yourself now? So become the woman who trusts, or the man who trusts himself, and then take the action, the aligned action, which is the masculine, which is the doing, which is super important. And then in order for you to receive what you want. So becoming.
And do you have any tips and tricks for someone to be able to do that, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, wouldn't I be a fraud? Wouldn't I be fake? Is this the whole fake it till you make it, or is it a feeling? How do you be something that you know physically right now you're not? It's kind of like tricking yourself.
Right, but are you not really?
I don't know.
If you want to be confident, so if you have this idea of being confident, what does it look like for you? What do you see yourself doing or being or acting a certain way? And can you bring it back to now? Okay, and by doing this, you're not actually faking it because it's still you. Mm-hmm. So how can you fake being you if it's you? Right? Mm-hmm. So it's not pretending, because even when you're pretending, you're still doing it. Yeah. So you're still being it. So there is no such thing as pretending. It's who you are now anyway.
Yeah.
But can you amplify this?
I love it. So one thing that I've done for a while, like I've thought about this, and I've thought about, I'm like, well, who would I be, when I'm making $1 million a year? Mm. So I've thought about things like this. I'm like, where would I eat for dinner? What would I wear? What car would I drive? Et cetera, et cetera. And for a while, it was making me spend too much money. Right? And then what I figured out, I was like, well, I started to put 10% away of every single thing I make up into a play account. Then once a month, I take it all out and I blow it however I feel like. Because for me, it's how I've sort of resonated with it, right? It's like, I like one of the reasons I'm doing everything I'm doing is I like nice shit. I like first class. I like nice things. I like champagne. I like expensive clothing. It's just what I do. I just enjoy it. And I asked myself the question a while ago. It was like, where would you, so that allows me to feel and be abundant, even when I'm not currently yet all the time, right? But I take this a little bit, and this is what I believe everybody can do as well. Like, I don't care if you've got $10 in there at the end of the month. It's like, you take that out and you go to the bar and you buy a really nice glass of champagne and you sip that fucking thing for an hour and you enjoy it, right? And you put on your nicest shoes you have and you're going to enjoy that feeling of being that, right? And this was literally last year, because I was really trying to crack this code more as well. It's like, about this income ceiling, I want to, amongst so many other things I did. And one of the biggest things actually, like, conflict internally, which we do at the Dream Out Loud method. It's like massively just rewrite fucking everything. But a thing that I did last year, I asked myself, it's like, where would I shop? Like, when I'm making all this money, where would I shop? And so I started to really do research and find some like really epic men's stores and all this stuff. And I went and get really nice shoes, like $800 shoes. And they're all this like the new standard now, and I love it. And then I found these stores that make these t-shirts that are insane. They feel so fucking good. And they're about $180 a t-shirt for plain white or plain black t-shirt. And that's my whole wardrobe. Because when I put it on, I feel amazing. And like, I'm not saying that this is the thing that's helped, but I'm certain that's one of the things, because and everywhere I go, and it's like I go anywhere and it's like you can touch Morgan's shirts and they just feel freaking great, right?
So good.
Because I just wear like nice shit,
Yeah.
and it makes me feel absolutely abundant every single day because I choose to spend that. And it was funny because I caught up with my mum the other day and I just finished shopping. And she's like, "Oh, what have you got?" It's this nice like luxury bag, and she looks at it, and I take the receipt out quickly and I just hide it. And I was like, "I'm not even going down that conversation." And she's like, "What is it?" "Oh, this looks very nice." I said, "Yeah, it's very nice." And I put the receipt back in, and then she takes it out, and then she looks at, "Are you kidding me?" And I think it was about $450 or something on a pair of pants and a t-shirt. She's like, "What the fuck?" And I said, "Well, hey, it's either spent on nice clothing, or I go take it down to the pub and have a big weekend. I have a big night out. Like, I've had nights out, you've had nights out. We spent $300, $400 on stupid shit, and this is what I'm doing. But it's something positive." And she's like, "Good point." So I think everyone can do this. They just spend money and they act and they're being things in a stupid way that isn't serving who they are going to become. They're being the person who they are now.
Yeah. And that's the way I see how you can blow, like you were talking about blowing the ceiling of your income. How I've done it was I was in the same kind of tricky position where I was like, oh, I can see myself having all this thing and being and spending all this money, but I don't have the money on my bank account physically. So how do I do it? And what I started doing was what I called an abundance day. So once in a week, I was just having a day where I was just doing all the things that I wanted to do and spending the money in an abundant way. So for example, if I want to have a massage, I will have a massage. If I wanted to go to the restaurant, I will go to the restaurant and not look at the price of the menu. Because let me tell you, what's the fucking difference between a $27 or $24, right? Nothing. It's nothing, but it's the mindset of what we do, how we do the things. If you go to the restaurant and look at the menu and you're like, oh, this one is 24, this one is 33. Now I'm gonna go for the 24. What? Like you're saving $7, $8? Like what? What is that? And the energy that you broadcast in the universe, if you look at in terms of energetics, is the frequency of lack. And therefore, you're more likely to attract lack. It's right, it's the law of resonance. But if you go to the restaurant and be like, at least once a week, you're like, you know what? I'm not looking at the price. I'm just going to order what feels good. Knowing that anyway, you're going to be able to afford it because the difference is going to be what, $8? And so therefore you create and reinforce in your energetic container, which is your body, the frequency of abundance. So that's how you can start little by little, build more frequency and being more abundant in your life and how you spend your money.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a big one. Where else do you see people, like the people you coach and etc.? Like, where are some common things you see people in their life showing up as lack and they might not be aware of it, other than ordering in a restaurant?
Yeah, so it shows up. Have you ever? I'm sure you've heard of that, the Wheel of Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the concept. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it. It's just the concept of having all different areas in your life and ranking them from 0 to 10. I call this the Wheel of Lack. Because if you're going to rank your life and any part of your life, like really your relationship, your finances, and you're like, I'm 6 or I'm 5 or I'm 2, then in your mind, you've created a gap. You've created a gap of lack. I don't have enough yet. It's not enough yet. And so therefore, the frequency of what you're broadcasting is the frequency of like, oh, it's not enough yet. I'm not good enough yet. Which in the self-development industry is shown as, yeah, but you can improve, right? Because you have gap to improve. How I see it is, can you feel like you're a 10 right now in your relationship, in your finances, in your career? Feeling like you're a 10 out of 10 right now, and tomorrow you're going to be a different version of a 10. Tomorrow you can improve and be a different 10, but still being a 10 right now. Being so grateful for where you are right now and desiring more. I'm so grateful for the $2 that is on my bank account right now, and I want more. Do you see how the frequency is very different? And so that's what I call the walk of success. 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for what I have right now, and I desire more.
Yeah. Yeah, I say being massively grateful, massively proud of everything you have now, but disgusted at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like simultaneously being like, I'm so happy and grateful of everything I have and everything I've done, and I'm freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And there's still so much more I can do and have.
Exactly. But that's the lens of looking at it through. There's so much more. But do you see how the frequency is very different from like, I would say like a 4 out of 10, from a place of like, it's not enough yet, like, like I'm not enough yet.
Yeah.
And that just reinforced the feeling and the belief that I'm not good enough yet.
Yeah.
Which I want to change from the I'm perfect now and I want to be even better tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. But could that not take you down a path just being delusional as well? And like you could be extremely broke and you need to look at that and be like, yeah, and then also going, oh, but it's fine. Oh, the trust in the universe. You know what I'm saying, right? So it's going to be married up with something. What else? Because it's so easy for people to look at that and be like, and be delusional and be like, I'm super broke, but I'm just going to trust. I'm actually abundant. I know it's going to flow to me. It's like, no, like, I get where you're at, but like, there's going to be something else married up with that. Like, what is it?
Yeah. So, and that's the masculine energy that you need to bring back to the, I actually have to do something. People miss the doing. Okay. They're just like sitting here and I'm going to listen to a meditation where I'm just going to like attract $1 million.
And it's just fall in my lap.
I'm just going to, like sit here and it's going to happen. Man, like, yeah. And you're going to need to move your ass and actually do the thing to get there. Like if you're just listening and like, yeah, la la land, it's la la land. No, we're living in a universe of duality where there is, yes, the feminine, which is the slowing down attraction, and the masculine. So can you embody even more the masculine energy of doing and taking what I called aligned action? Because when you're clear on what you want, you're clear on the business, the success that you want to build in your life, and you're feeling this emotion of like, oh my God, so excited. Then the next question to ask yourself is, what action do I need to take that will get me closer to that?
Yeah.
So that's the action. Actually, you have to do something.
Yeah. So what was the thing that was missing for you? Because you didn't just have some growth in the last 6-12 months. You were like 5x more, right? Like you had some big things happen. What were some things, did you notice anything like, oh, when I stopped doing this or I started doing this, what was the thing that helped you?
So first, having a mentor, like mentors, coaches, where they condensing all their knowledge into a mastermind, a one-on-one, a group coaching, where you can just absorb everything and it's like, oh, great, okay, cool. So you're condensing time and collapsing time to then implement what they've learned that you can then implement in your life, in your business, to then skyrocket your business and your life, your relationship, depending on what's your interest. And having some me time in the morning was super important. I caught myself being in bed and looking at my message and being like, oh yeah, I'm going to answer my potential clients. And I was like, I was already on
hustle energy,
yeah.
Right?
And it was the doing to get there. And then I hired a mentor, which was my first business mentor, a very like feminine way to do business. And she was like, wait a minute. No. We don't do that here. First, you need to build your own energy first in your own container. And then you go out there and then you give the energy to your clients. Yeah. But build the energy first by doing your morning routine, go work out, to the beach, meditate, breath work.
Yeah. It's huge. When I started implementing things in my morning, and it helped a lot when I moved to LA like years ago. And it helped a lot when I moved there because I'd wake up in the morning and Australia would be going to sleep. And so a lot of my business was back here. So it helped me so much to get into that routine. I wouldn't do anything until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was great, but I like working into the evening, right? So like I'm really like get turned on like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon and I can go to like midnight if I really choose. But I love, because that's the quality of life I want. I want to enjoy my day and work at night, right? But it's a freaking game changer there. Talk to me a little bit about this whole meta medicine thingy. What do you mean that the body can heal itself? I thought you need chemicals and stuff to do that.
So it's fantastic, and it blew my mind every single time. So if you look at the word dis-ease, a disease, it's called dis-ease, right? And we know now, it's been proved many times with scientific studies, that ease is a feeling in your body, right? So it's the feeling of ease. And feelings are the byproduct of our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, we think about something, and then our thought create a feeling in our body. Thinking is the language of the brain, of the mind. Feeling is the language of the body.
Yeah.
Right? And so if it's a dis-ease, we've created an unease in the body that came from the brain. So therefore, that means that every dis-ease has been created first in the mind, by the negative pattern of thinking, by something that happens in the past, perhaps, that had a ripple effect then on the body years later.
Yeah.
And to give you an example, on a metaphor, I was like driving on the highway with my mom, and like a truck overtook us, and a little pebble hit the windscreen, and we just heard the poof, and then nothing. Everything was fine. The windscreen was fine for weeks. And then it started to have a little crack. And because we didn't do anything about it, it just became a bigger and bigger crack until the whole windscreen was cracked. This is exactly what happened in the body when we have emotional trauma that we haven't dealt with. And so therefore, the trauma that happened perhaps when you're 5 years old or 10, that you haven't properly dealt with, has created this crack somewhere. And then it's just a ripple effect that turns into a dis-ease maybe 10 years later, or maybe 6 months later.
This is wild. So give us a few examples, like let's reverse engineer, right? So if it's a feeling or if it's a thing in your body, so what are some common things that diseases or pains that people have, so we can like see direct reflection, right? So what are some common things that people have in the world, like tonsillitis?
So I like to look at through a different part of the body.
Okay.
So for example, your back. So if you have any kind of back problem, the back is related to support. Okay, it's the portion of the body that supports your body.
So is it lack of support?
That will be potentially a lack of support in your personal life, in your business,
Let's
that you feel like you're having so much stuff to carry on your shoulders that you feel like your back has to be painful because you're carrying too much.
I continually get a pain on my left side, which is feminine, right? On the back.
Yeah.
So what is this?
Right. So then I will have to ask you more questions to find the root cause of the problem. So when did that start? And then understanding more of this, of the root of the cause, because sometimes it can be something that happened years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be something that is just now. And if you find the root cause of the problem, then by healing the root cause, then you're able to actually heal the problem.
Right. So could it be a problem that's been pushed to the back? Yeah. So there's also a thing. So it could be like lack of support, feminine.
Yeah.
So is it lack of support or like needing support? Or like not getting it?
That's where it would be important for me to have a look at your story to understand where is it. It would be something related to support. And then I will ask you a question to understand more what is it for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What about other parts of the body?
So then I remember when I was 17, I started to have eczema all over my arms. And it was horrible. Like, it's the weird skin and it's itchy and it's uncomfortable. And I changed my soap. I tried all the essential oil. I went to the dermatologist. Like, I did all the things. And it was still fucking there. And I started self-development and basically healed the relationship with my dad. Instantly, the eczema was gone.
How come that was related?
It was every kind of skin condition, especially like if it's irritating, if it's like scratching, it's linked with something that is irritating you, something that is an irritation, a frustration.
How about acne?
Acne is related to self-worth. So how you see yourself and you feel like you have to hide yourself. It can be also an inflammation. So it could be an inflammation of the skin. So therefore it's related to same, like a kind of frustration inside. You're frustrated about something and therefore it's like boop, out. Because the body is just like trying to, symptoms is just a way for the body to tell you, please have a look at that.
Where to focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if people are getting acne, it's a self-worth thing. So if they start to clean up that and understand that they are worthy and deal with why they're trying to hide, is that right?
Yeah.
It'll clear up.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we've got back, eczema, this, gut issues.
Gut issue would be, it depends. So there's a lot of different things. For example, the gallbladder, it will be related to anger. So something that has been like so frustrated and a lot of anger that has been condensed into the gallbladder. So I will have a look to in their past, what happened in relation maybe to their parents. Are they holding on to a lot of frustration, a lot of anger toward their past, toward what happens, if there is any kind of abuse or something like that. Yeah, that would be something that I will look at.
Cool. Yeah. It's so fascinating, this stuff, and I really love it. So this has been epic.
Thank you so much.
Have you had fun?
Yeah.
So cool.
So good.
Where can everybody find you on socials and follow your stuff and check you out more?
Yeah, so everything is on my Instagram. So @Jean__. You have everything there. My programs, my free stuff as well. Like I give a lot. So definitely go on there.
Epic. All right, cool. So to wrap this up, I've got one final question for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
That was one question. Now I have another. Ready? If you were to go back to your 18-year-old self and give her 30 seconds of advice, what would it be?
I will be, keep going. Keep going, because what's waiting for you is beyond what you can imagine. And if you can hold the faith that everything is happening for you, then you're going to create a massive impact, a beautiful life, and what I called a masterpiece.